Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the economic dispatch using Green City Power Grid. Green City Power Grid gets electricity from coal plants, hydro power plants, these plants, and nowadays the city is facing many problems like higher fuel cost and electricity for evening time because we use EV vehicles and also face the renewable energy increases. So the main aim is to provide enough of electricity to people at a lower cost without affecting the power.
The explanation given by Harini and economical dispatch is an meaning of sharing the load equally and to avoid the wastages and fuel cost and equally it will share the load to the load meet out to the demand, and then economical dispatch is mainly focused to share the demand equally and the one generator operational cost will be higher, and then compared to other generator, each generator has an operating cost is differ, so the economical dispatch is a main thing to use.
Building on that, B, the common method makes this practical. The classic lambda iteration approach tweaks outputs iteratively until incremental costs match the system. The lambda value as the market price per extra unit. For complex grid like Green City, we upgrade to gradient based or interior points, methods handling constraints like transmission limits or ramp rates. No spreadsheets needed here, just the idea that software simulates adjustments in real time. It ensures Green City does not waste coal on peak hours when hydro could cover it.
Shines in cases like this. First, massive cost saving by favoring efficient generators like in a green city hood slash bills without blackouts. And then second, it will improves reliability by representing plant limits, preventing overloads during peaks. Third, it paves the way for the renewable energies. Solar zero fuel cost make it dispatch first during the sunny hours. Overall, it is flexible for dynamic grids and then reducing emissions to shine clean plants run more. Green City shifts to smart dispatch could transform them for cost burner to efficient leaders.
I agree with all the advantages, but also economic dispatch contains many disadvantages. The main disadvantage is that it has a unit commitment. When it comes to unit commitment, power plants cannot be switched on and off frequently. So it must be handled properly because it contains high cost. And when it comes to renewable energies are intermittent. It is not available 24 by 7. When it comes to solar energy, when at night we can't use solar energy, so there must be backup thermal plants also.
I agree with your point as these problems can be solved quickly and losses can be reduced by improving the dispatch calculations and AI also helps to predict demand and renewable power and making economic dispatch smarter and safer. And green cities can use batteries to store energy and supply power and during the shortages. And government policies like carbon piercing also can help to in local areas like manage to power better. And these marking system can build a society strong and sustainable.
So the main objective of economic dispatch, number one, so all the consumers they are expecting uninterruptible power supply. So if they are expecting the uninterruptible power supply, So all the power plant, it may be nuclear or thermal, or it may be solar, wind, whatever it may be. So here we have to meet out the demand, the customer, the consumer. So we have to meet out the generation which is equal to the total demand which is required by the consumer. So this is the first objective of economic dispatch. So we have to meet out the consumer demand. So the demand which is equal to generation. Suppose if the generation which is lesser than the demand, so we have to go for load forecasting, we have to for precast, and we have to go for load shedding option. So in certain area we have to shut up the power supply for 2 hours, 3 hours, like that for particular area. So from 10 to 12, for another area 2 to 4, for another area 2 to 6 or 4 to 6, like that we have to cut off the power supply. So there will be an interruption to the consumer. So we should avoid that particular issue. So the first one, the total generation which is equal to total demand. We have to meet out the requirement, number one. And the second one, cost wise. So we are having n number of power plant. We are having the n number of units. If all unit has to be operated, so the total power generation which is greater than the total demand also. But during that condition, the few constraint like fuel constraint and other operating costs or running costs and some other extra cost, it will be too excess. So it is a wastage of money as well as wastage of resources, like or it may be petrol, diesel, or it may be an uranium, or it may be an coal or lignite, whatever it may be. The resources are getting wasted. So here we have to meet out the demand by using the economical operation, by using the economical cost. At very, very low cost, we have to meet out the demand. So for that, so which unit has to be turned on and which unit has to be turned off. So we have to allocate, and for all the possible unit, we have to determine the cost. So from that, in order to determine the total demand, so which or all the unit has to be run to get the minimum value. That is nothing but an economical value. And the third one, it is not only to meet out the exact demand, also we have to keep at least 10% of spinning reserve. So that means if the total demand is 100 megawatt, the total generation is also 100 megawatt. Okay. Suppose if the load is suddenly decreases from 100 to 90, it is not an issue. But unfortunately, if the load is increases from 100 megawatt into 105 megawatt or 106 megawatt means, so there will be a power shortage. Okay, here the generation which is not equal to the demand, that will be a shortage of around 5 to 6 megawatt. So during that time, suddenly we are unable to feed the coal, water, hot air into the power plant, and suddenly we are not able to meet out the demand. So for that certain reasons, we are always keeping certain percentage, nearly 10% of the total generation has to be turned as. We have to keep it as spinning reserve. So for example, if the total demand is 100, so always we are preparing to generate of 110 megawatt. So the 10 will be wasted only. But suddenly if the load is increases, we can able to meet out the demand, because the load is not always constant. The load is always changes with respect to the time. Okay, for example, morning it will be on some load, and go for another 10 o'clock it will be some load with getting changed. 12 o'clock some may be changed. So with respect to time, the load is always getting changing. So better we have to keep 10% of load demand is keeping as a spinning reserve. So this is the main objective. So we have to meet out the demand, and we have to get the power allocation by minimal cost. And third one, we have to suppose we have to keep 10% as spinning reserve. So this is a case study on economic dispatch.